We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank you, Oriette, for joining us today. We'll have a few more people come in, but you are in for a treat today. Today we have joining us Ronnie Oats. I actually met him a few years ago at a homeownership seminar. It's a
Yep.
homeownership seminar. And so it was great. We were both vendors there. And so since then, he's been my go-to guy for anything homeowners insurance. He actually does a lot more, so he'll be able to tell you a little bit more about that today. He actually also saved me quite a bit this year on my own personal homeowners insurance because it definitely went up significantly since purchasing my home. So we're able to get our payment back down. He does pretty good rates on new construction, which that fit in perfectly with you, Oriette, as you're
Yeah.
looking to purchase a new home. And so I will just, do the normal housekeeping. If you have questions, since it's just us few right now, I guess it depends on how Ronnie wants it. And if it's okay with him, feel free to just unmute yourself or you can leave a question in the chat. There will be a special time for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. But if you feel, always put it in the chat at least, so that you don't forget it. And so
Yep.
without further ado, I will let Ronnie take over. He's here with us from Brightway Insurance. He is the agency owner, and he is going to have a lot of information for us today because, as you know, homeowners insurance is very important as part of the buyer real estate transaction and purchasing a home. And so I will let you take the floor, Ronnie. Thank you for
All right.
being here.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Thank you for the warm introduction. It's greatly appreciated. I'm excited to be here and talk about homeowners insurance. Quite a bit has changed, has been going on in the Florida homeowners insurance market over the last few years. And so I'm excited to talk about, some of the bases of homeowners insurance, as well as just a market overview of what we see going on in the market right now and really what we're forecasting to happen, in the market over here over the next few years. But again, my name is Ronnie Oats. I'm the agency owner of here at Brightway Insurance. We're based out of Tampa. I opened up my agency in 2022. If you go, slide. Opened up my agency back in 2022. We are family owned. My father, he had a long 37-year career with the Boy Scouts. And so he was retired for a few years. And I somehow convinced him to come out of retirement and start this new venture with me. And I tell you, it has been amazing to be able to work with my father. Who's not pictured on here is my mother. She also does some of our back office administrative work. So we are a full-fledged family operation. Next. So for the agenda today, we're going to go over power of choice, of why it's important in working with a broker. And again, here at Brightway Insurance, we do more than just homeowners insurance. We do auto insurance, boat insurance, RV, small business insurance, life insurance. We can do it all for the most part. Next, we're going to go over understanding your declaration page. I'll tell you, 95% of the people that I quote have no idea what is on their declaration page and what their homeowners insurance policy covers. So we're going to dive deep into that and make sure you have a good understanding of that. Next, we'll dive into 4-point wind mitigation inspections. If you are purchasing a house that is over 20 years old, it will likely need a 4-point and wind mitigation inspection. And so we'll dive into that, that way you are familiar with some things to look out for when you are, if you do come across these inspections. Then we're going to discuss the homeowners insurance roadmap. So, really what it looks like from the time that, you contact me and what those next steps look like in the process from me quoting all the way to you, getting your homeowners insurance policy for you to be able to close on your new property. And then after that, we're going to discuss just some different ways that you can save on your homeowners insurance. And lastly, I'm going to provide you all with a market update of what's going on in the market right now, and again, what we see going on potentially happening in the future. So next, power of choice. Again, here at Brightway Insurance, we are an insurance broker. We have access to probably over 25 insurance companies, carriers here in the state of Florida. So what does that mean for you? One, saves you time. You don't have to, you as someone who is in the process of purchasing a house, you don't have to call these different carriers individually to try to obtain a quote. We do all the legwork for you. So, as you can see, here are some of the big name companies that we work with. All of these are A-rated private insurance companies here in Florida. I'm sure most of you all have heard of Progressive. So again, it's extremely important, especially in this market, to work with a broker. Because again, every carriers have different appetites. Some carriers have really strong appetites for new construction. Other carriers have a pretty good appetite. When I mean appetite, I mean that they will they offer competitive policies even for older homes. So it's important for again for you to work with a broker who can do all the legwork for you. Any questions?
Ronnie, those were the companies. Those are is that for homeowners only, or is that homeowners auto and
Yeah, so Progressive and Nationwide and Mercury, these are auto carriers.
okay.
Below these are going to be your homeowners. Neptune Insurance, they are flood insurance, private flood insurance carrier. Safeco, they are auto insurance as well. So it's a good mixture of
Right.
big name carriers.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Great question. So next, understanding your declaration page. This is the most important part of your homeowner's insurance policy. What this does, this outlines all your specific coverages. And when I tell you, it is extremely important that you have a good understanding of what your homeowner's insurance policy covers, because the last thing you want to happen is, to end up having a claim and you think this, this particular thing may be covered and it's not covered. And so what I'm going to dive through is we're just going to go through the main coverages of the homeowner's insurance policy, starting with coverage A. So you'll see it up to the top left-hand corner, which is your dwelling coverage. Okay. The dwelling coverage, so coverage A, in the event of a major, something happening to your home, and if you look where I circled in the very middle, you'll see dwelling coverage as an example of $290,000. So this is what the insurance company will pay you to rebuild your home in today's dollars if you had a complete loss of your home. Now, I get this all the time where you may get a quote and it'll say 290,000 for your dwelling coverage. But your loan, you might be purchasing this property for, 400,000. One thing to keep in mind is that, with homeowners insurance companies, they are only concerned with what it's going to cost to rebuild your home and the structure of your home. What you're paying for the home also includes the value of the land. Insurance companies, they are not concerned about that. Their only concern is the structure of the dwelling in itself. This question comes up quite a bit. So yeah, so I thought, so it's so you will likely see that your dwelling amount on your homeowner's insurance policy will likely be less than what you're buying the property for. Next is coverage B. So other structure. Other structure is basically anything that is coverage for anything that is not attached to the structure of your home. So think like a detached garage, a shed, a cabana, a pergola, fence. If any of those items were damaged during a claim, the insurance company, they will pay you out up to a certain amount. So in this example, I think it was like 29,000. So they will pay you out up to X amount, up to a certain amount to either rebuild or replace that other structure that is that's on your property. The next is personal property. Personal property, easiest way for me to explain personal property is think of it, if you cut the roof off of your home, you flip your home upside down, and anything that falls out of your home is considered your personal property. Okay, so the insurance company, they will pay you out in this example, $203,000. So if any of your personal items were damaged, and during a claim, the insurance company will pay you out up to your policy limits for all of your personal property. Now, there are two different ways that insurance companies, they value your personal property. One is called actual cash value, and the other is personal property replacement costs. And this is actually an endorsement. So this is something that is added to your policy if you wished. And the main difference that you'll see between the two is, let's take, for example, you buy a brand new refrigerator today, right? And that refrigerator may cost you $1,000. Well, if you experience a claim 5 years from now, and the insurance company were to go to replace that refrigerator is no longer worth $1,000 because you have to factor in depreciation. And so that refrigerator now may only be worth $500. And so with actual cash value, the insurance company is going to pay you out at the depreciated value of all of your personal items, all of your personal belongings. Okay. Now, if you had the personal property replacement cost endorsement, taking that same exact scenario, you buy a refrigerator for $1,000, you experience a claim 5 years from now, the insurance company is going to pay you out, think old for new. They're going to pay you out what it would cost to get brand new items of all of your personal belongings. So they will not factor in depreciation, when they're paying you out for that particular claim. Now, having that endorsement for the personal property replacement cost endorsement, it generally will increase your premium. Sometimes it can be as low as $100, and I've seen it can increase all the way up to $600, $700, $800. So the insurance companies, they place a lot of value on that specific endorsement. And so so it's just important for you all to be aware of that. The next is coverage D, loss of use. So in the event that something happens to your home and now you're displaced and you need to live in a short-term living establishment, hotel or Airbnb for a period of time while your home is being fixed, the insurance company will pay you out up to a certain amount. So in this example, $87,000, they will pay you out up to $87,000 that's going to pay for your room and board, living expenses, food, transportation, so forth, while your home is being either repaired or rebuilt. So it's a great coverage to have. And the next two, coverage E and F, personal liability and medical payments, these really go hand in hand. Personal liability is if somebody was on your property and they were injured on your property and they went to this is a hypothetical example, and they went to the hospital, and let's say they racked up a $30,000 medical bill. Well, if they tried to file a lawsuit against you for your negligence and you were found to be the primary cause of that incident, well, if they file a lawsuit against you, you would get, and what you're going to see on most policies, it's the typical is about 300,000, but they have them in different increments. But on this, the insurance company would pay up to 200,000, which will cover your not medical bills, but legal fees, settlement fees, damages to the other party, court costs, and medical bills. So think of that personal liability as an extra layer of liability in the event somebody was injured on your property and they tried to file a lawsuit against you. The only difference between personal liability and medical payments, with medical payments, you do not have to be found liable. So if somebody was just injured on your property and you wanted to help them with their medical bills, you do have, in this example, up to $200,000 for each person that you can help them with their medical payments, again, if they were injured. Now, utilizing any of these coverages, if you call in for just somebody was injured and you want to help them with their medical payments, that's technically a claim. And in this market, you want to be very, very cognizant of what you're calling into the insurance company for to make a claim. If somebody, and I'll give you a few examples, if somebody, let's say, stole some patio furniture, that's not worth a claim, okay? Because you're likely not going to meet your deductible. But if a tree falls in your house, of course, that is worth a claim. So, one of the things that I always stress to my clients is, if you feel like you have a claim, let me be your first call, because what a lot of people don't realize, and before I got into insurance, I didn't realize, and I was a victim of it as well. If you think you have a claim and you call into the insurance company, as soon as you mention anything, if it's water damage or a window broke, it's immediately a claim. Regardless if they pay out on that claim is on your record. So I always recommend giving me the agent call first. Allow me to discuss. We'll walk through the scenario, and I'll either say, hey, it's probably going to be better that you pay this out of pocket, or this is claim worthy. Let's contact the insurance company, because before I got into insurance, and I'll give an example. The house that I live in now, one morning I woke up and my back sliding glass door, it spider web somehow, like no rock, nothing hit it, it just spider web. So me not knowing, I called my insurance company and asked them, I asked them, what my options were, and they said, well, you're probably not going to meet your deductible, because it's, just so you're better off just calling, a local repair company. And so that's what I did. And then, time later, I went to go shop my insurance policy, and they say, hey, you have a claim on your record. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, it looks like you filed a claim back back on this date, and it was that. And so me calling in, even regardless of them not, just asking about it, they consider that a claim. So that's just something to just to be mindful of. There are also two other things that you'll see on your, I'm not sure if it's on here or not, but are your deductibles. So what you will see, there's two different deductibles that are on your homeowner's insurance policy. One is called all other perils. So a peril is like lightning, fire, theft, explosion, water damage. So typically your all of the perils deductible is anywhere between 2,500, 1,000, or with brand new construction, you can get as low as $500. And so, if you were to have a claim and, lightning hit your house, that would be your deductible that would have to be paid. Now, your hurricane deductible is quite a bit different. Okay. The way that the insurance company, they look at your hurricane deductibles, they take it, they're all percentages. So your deductible may be 1%, maybe 2%, but they take it off of, so it might be 1% or 2% of your dwelling amount. So if you look in this example in the very beginning, we see coverage A, 290,000. So 2% of that, whatever that number is, that is your deductible in the event, we have a hurricane and you have some, and your house was damaged. Whatever that deductible amount, you would essentially have to incur that amount or more in damages for your hurricane coverages to kick in. So if I give you an example, if let's just say your deductible was $6,000 and hurricane came and you had some damage to your house, and let's say the damages only equated to $3,000. Well, you would be responsible for paying that $3,000 because you have not met your deductible of what I say $5,000 or $6,000. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I know this was a mouthful, but what questions do you all have on the declaration page?
I have a question.
Sure.
So how is it determined for coverage A? Because if let's say you purchase a home for 350 or 315 and the coverage A dwelling amount is 290, like how is that amount determined?
So great question. So every company, they have a tool. It's called a replacement cost estimator. And this tool, what it does, it takes in all the different factors of the construction of your house. So whether it's, built from masonry, which is cinder block, or if it's frame, which is wood, the year built, the square footage, the quality of the interior of the bathrooms, whether it's, standard builder's grade, or, if you have, custom kitchen, a custom bathroom. So all of this information goes into this tool, and this tool then spits out a number of what they believe is the rebuild cost of your home. And so, I'm not sure if you heard, but so yeah, so like you were saying, if your purchase price is $315, you also have to realize that the purchase price also includes the value of the land. And insurance companies, they do not insure land. Their only concern is the actual structure and the dwelling and what it would cost to rebuild the dwelling in itself. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Perfect. Great. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
So if somebody was injured on your property, and you file a claim to help with the payments, will that trigger an increase for the next year?
It could, yes. Especially liability, anything liability related, yes. It will
Okay.
likely, it will really, any type of claim that you have now outside of acts of God. Now, an act of God for like lightning, tornado, hurricane, you're generally not penalized for that because that is something out of your hands. But
Okay.
anything liability related, or even I would say the worst type of claim is a water claim. If you have a water claim, you're almost guaranteed to be non-renewed by your insurance company, and it's going to be very, very hard to find coverage from other private insurers. Right now, with these other private insurers, if you have one water claim, most of them will not accept you. So that's just water claims are by far, in my opinion, the worst type of claim because they are the #1 source of claims here in the state of Florida.
Okay. And then is there a certain amount of time, let's say if somebody was injured, even if, it wasn't your fault, but do they have a certain amount of time or we have a certain amount of time that we have to report it, or can they come back, let's say, I don't know, 6 months later after they found out like, oh, this is too much and now I need, extra funds? Like, is there a certain amount of time that they have to report the claim?
Yes, I believe the statute of limitations for that is going to be 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yes, I wanted to piggyback on her question about, your comment about water damage.
Mhm.
Is that also an act of God, water damage? Like if there's a flood, we're in Florida, we have hurricanes.
Mhm.
Will that affect you as well?
Great question. So flood and water damage are actually considered two different things. Water damage is anything that arises from inside your house, inside your house. So if a pipe burst, and flooded the downstairs, flooded downstairs, that is not considered an act of God. Now, if you live on the coast and you have, if it's raining and you have storm surge, that is considered an act of God. But also be mindful is that your flood policy, which is waters from outside of your home that come inside of your home, that is not covered under a standard homeowners insurance policy. A flood policy is a separate policy that you would need to get in order for you to be covered for waters rising from outside of your home coming inside. But anything that if like I said, if a pipe burst and you have water damage inside your home, that is not considered active. But that was a great question.
Okay, another follow-up to that. Because, act of God, hurricane, you're not in a flood zone, but your home floods. If you're not in a flood zone, you wouldn't normally get flood insurance, correct?
No.
So, right. So if that happens, if your home floods, and you're not in a flood zone, is that still not covered?
Still not covered. And so here's the thing. And so here's one thing I need to, just because you technically may not be in a flood zone, everywhere here in Florida, you're susceptible to flooding with enough rain. And Hurricane Ian was a prime example of that, where I think 14 inches of rain dropped in Central Florida overnight. And there were many people who were not in the flood zone that had flooding inside their house, and they were not covered. So just because and just because you technically may not be in a flood zone, everywhere here in Florida, regardless of where you are susceptible to flooding with it, because all it takes is just enough rain. If you look, I mean, if you think about what happened, was it last month or I think it was last month, where South Florida, they had, I think it was like over 15 inches of rain and over the course of a few days. Streets were flooded. So again, enough rain that comes down over a short period of time, you're susceptible to flooding. And if you don't have flood insurance, even though if you're not in a flood zone, it won't be covered.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. No, that's a great question.
I have a question.
Sure. No, I like questions.
Why do most insurance providers drop you after like a water burst incident?
Well, because now you're high risk. You know, if you think about it, you know, now this insurance company, you know, has to play out thousands and thousands of dollars, and they will likely never recoup that money from it. And so you're, you know, especially a water claim, once you have a water claim, you're considered high risk for another claim. And so they honestly, they just don't want to take on that risk anymore, unfortunately. You typically won't see that, you know, if it's an act of God, but if it's a water claim, in their eyes, that is something that either could have been prevented, you know. So if you're in an older house and you have older pipes that haven't been updated,
Okay.
you know, they'll consider that as, you know, that was something that you probably could have prevented if, you know, if you had updated piping, for example.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That makes sense. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else? The next is the 4-point and wind mitigation inspection. So when you're in the process of purchasing a home, if you know, 4-point and wind mitigation inspections are going to be required for homes that are generally 20 years and older. The 4-point inspection, what it does is it looks at 4 main categories of your home. So it looks at the electrical system, the plumbing system, the condition of your roof, and your air conditioning system. Okay. Now, some of the things to keep in mind: when you get the 4-point inspection, if anything is marked off as a hazard or unsatisfactory condition, the home will not be in insurable condition until those items have been fixed. The only thing that we could likely get approved, and I run into this all the time, the biggest issues that we mostly see are conditions of the roof. This is a very, very big thing with insurance companies. They look at every inch of the 4-point inspection for the roof and the condition of the roof. And so now, if your roof has, so in order to qualify for insurance, your particular roof has to have 5 or more years of life remaining on 5 or more years of life remaining on the roof to be eligible for insurance. If you get that 4-point back and it says, you know, the roof has 2 or 3 more years of life remaining, no insurance company will take you and give you roof coverage. So if you're ever in that instance, especially if you want this house, it's going to be best that you negotiate with the seller and have them, you know, work with the seller and your realtor to have them negotiate the price of a brand new roof. The repair of a brand new roof into the price of the that you're purchasing the house for. So it's best to get that done, because if not, let's just say you're buying a house and the roof has 5 or more years of life remaining. Well, we can get it insured, but just realize that, you know, after about 1 to 2 years, that insurance company, they may have their own inspector come out and do an inspection. And if that inspector deems that roof has 2 or 3 more years of life remaining on it, the insurance company is going to require you to get a brand new. So now that cost is going to be on you. So what I always tell people is best to try to push that back on the seller, especially if you see that there's not a whole lot of life remaining on the roof. It's best to to put that on the seller. That way you're not stuck with that, you know, $10, $15, $20,000 bill, you know, a few years down the line. The next is going to be your wind mitigation inspection. So the wind mitigation inspection, this particular inspection is what's going to give you the discounts and credits on your homeowner's insurance policy. The 4-point inspection is more so just for eligibility, but the wind mitigation inspection will give you discounts and credits on your premium. And the purpose of the wind mitigation inspection, what it does is it shows how fortified the roof is to the structure of your home. And so there are different sections, different parts of the wind mitigation inspection. So the more fortified the roof is to your home, the bigger your discount is. The less the roof is fortified, you know, to the structure of your home, the less your discount will be. And so on here, you'll just see, so, you know, roof wall to connection. I don't want to get too technical, but these are the different, some of the different categories. So for example, opening protection. So if you have hurricane impact windows, hurricane rated windows on your home, and all windows and doors on your home, you will get a discount for that. Many people don't realize that you actually get a discount for the shape of your roof, right? So there's 2 different types of roofs shapes. One is called gable, which this is right here. I'm not sure if you can see. Can you all see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is considered a gable roof. Gable roofs get less of a discount on your homeowner's insurance policy, because if you think about it, let's say you have a big windstorm, right? And that wind is coming that direction. That wind is going to pop off that roof, can easily pop off that roof because that wind can get up under there. Now, if you have a hip roof essentially, it looks like this all the way around. So it slopes down. So you know, you can go around the entire house and you see these lines. So that line will come right over here, go right over here, and then back. So there's no arch like this. And that's considered a hip roof. And the biggest benefit for a hip roof is it makes it a lot more challenging for wind to get up under there and take that roof off. And so if you have a hip roof, you do get, in many cases, a pretty substantial discount for having a hip roof on your home. But yeah, so these are 2 inspections that you know you will likely come across. Inspections can run, for both inspections, they can run anywhere between, you know, $180 to $250 for both, you know, combined. You know, we also do, you know, here in my agency, we do partner with home inspectors that are vetted and that we use on a regular basis, and that we know that do quality work. But and this is one thing I also want to stress, even with new construction, many people think that, oh, because it's new construction, it's going to be built perfectly. It's not. Even with new construction, it is highly recommended. You don't need a 4-point wind mitigation, but I highly recommend that you get a full inspection, because I've seen it happen quite often where, you know, it's a new construction house, and you know, I had a client last year who bought a new construction house. A year later, pipe burst, and it was all due to faulty workmanship. The folks that were building it did not do something right within the pipe within the wall, and it burst, and now that homeowner stuck with that claim. So that could have likely have been caught if he had a full inspection done on the house. So it's extremely important, really, on any type of house that you're purchasing, that you get get an inspection done. What questions y'all have?
I don't have a question, but I just want to piggyback on what you just said. I always stress that to my clients, that you definitely need to get an inspection, especially if you're using one of the production builders out here that build so many homes. They build them so fast. And so you definitely want to have like a unbiased third party looking at your home at all times. I know the last house that we had, my client bought, they were missing some support beams in the roof, in the attic, to support the roof. And this was a brand new house. So definitely, Ronnie's 100%, 1000% right. Get that inspection. Also, when it comes to the roof, if you're buying resale, as he mentioned, you'll see that a lot of the older homes, they'll put in the comments, if you guys been looking at the description and you're shopping for houses, you'll see where they'll put in the age of the roof. And that's just them basically trying to tell you, hey, this is a brand new roof. It should pass these inspections, and that way you won't have issues with insurance. So if you see that, those are like pluses when you're looking at an older home to purchase. And so a lot of the older homes are usually in the city, because most of the outskirts of Tampa right now are new construction. But if you, like he mentioned, if you're looking at an old home, they'll put like, hey, the water heater is this year, the HVAC is this year, the roof is this year, so that you can pass your 4-point inspection. And these inspections are done once you go into contract. If you're buying resale, they're done within that inspection contingency period. So depending on what you selected, it could be up to 15 days or more if you negotiate for more. And then if you're buying new construction, you don't need the 4.0 wind mitigation, like you mentioned, but if you're getting an inspection and you want to do it, then it's at the end, closer to when the house is done.
Exactly. Any questions? Right, on to the next. So now we're going to discuss the homeowners insurance roadmap. Okay, so the first thing you do, once you go under contract with the property, you would contact an insurance agent or me to shop the market for you. At the same time, you, again, like Royce was just saying, you would schedule and provide the agent with the 4-point inspection. Again, this is primarily going to be on homes that are 20 plus years or older. Anything newer is not required. Again, I will shop the policy for you. So we have a tool where we can shop the policy out, shop for a quote for all of our carriers, all simultaneously. Once I shop all the quotes, my ultimate objective is to find you great coverage at the most competitive price, right? We're looking, because we know, insurance rates are high here in the state of Florida. And so my goal is to find you the most competitive policy that I can find, but also making sure that you still have great coverage, because at the end of the day, that is the most important thing. So once I have the policy, I'll email you the quote, and we'll schedule some time to just review the coverages. Go have answer any questions that you may have after you've been able to, after you looked over it, and so then after that, if we'll choose a policy that meets your needs. Once you give me the green light, you would advise your loan officer that you're going with this policy. The loan officer will contact me, the agent, and say, hey, my client is going with this policy. They'll include what they call the mortgagee clause and loan number. So this is the mortgage company that your policy that you'll have on your loan. They'll send me that information, because I have to add that information to the policy in order to process it. Once I process the policy, you will then get the application to sign off on the homeowners insurance application. At that time, at the same time, I will send over what they call the evidence of insurance or declaration page and the invoice to your loan officer. Those are the main two things that they need to they'll need to wrap up the loan. And then when it comes time for you to close on the property at closing, the title company will then send the payment for the full year premium to the insurance company directly. And so you may hear this word called escrow. So most folks, when they're buying a new home, they have their insurance policy escrowed into their mortgage. So the payment that they send at closing, that will be for the insurance for the next year, for that current year. And then every month when you make your mortgage payment, a portion of that mortgage payment will be set aside into escrow to pay for your insurance for your renewal, so for the following year. And so you don't necessarily have to pay out of pocket unless you absolutely wanted to. You don't have to pay out of pocket, and that can all be bundled into your monthly mortgage payment. What questions, if any, on this?
Well, here's a common question I get often. Can you pay your homeowner's insurance outside of escrow? And then if so, What is the qualifications in order to do that?
No qualifications, but you can do it as long as it's okay with your mortgage company. Yeah, you can pay it. You can pay it. It doesn't have to be escrowed. Most carriers will allow you to do either quarterly pay, semi-annual payments, or pay in full. But as long as it's okay with your mortgage company, you don't have to do escrow. You can pay it out of pocket. Completely up to you. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So how to save on your homeowner's insurance policy. So the first thing you could do is getting a home security system. So if you have a burglar fire alarm system that is centrally monitored, what you would have to do is, whether it be ADT or, Vivint or whatever carrier that is, home security system that's in your area. Once you get it installed, whether it be ADT, they should provide you with a monitoring certificate. And that is what I would need as your agent to be able to submit to the insurance company to get you a discount credit on your homeowner's insurance policy. Depending on the carrier, the credits can be as low as $25, $30, and I've seen them take off $100-$200 by having a home security system. So they do provide you some good discounts on that. Also, improving your home safety features, like I mentioned earlier. Hurricane impact windows, you do get a pretty good discount on having hurricane impact windows installed on your home. That discount can range anywhere between $100-$300 from what I've seen mostly. But again, in order to receive this credit, all windows and doors, including your garage door, have to be rated for hurricane impact. Have to be hurricane impact rated to get the full discount. Also, maintaining a good credit score. Most insurance companies, they run what's called an insurance score. They don't pull your credit score, but they just look at your financial history. And so if you have a good credit score, this can lead to lower premiums as well. Next is increasing your deductibles. So the higher deductible that you have, the cheaper your policy will be. Now, when it comes to like your hurricane deductible, many insurance companies will not allow you to go above 5% hurricane deductible. So you can't have so if you have a mortgage, you won't be able to get a 10% hurricane deductible, and I generally don't recommend that. The deductibles that I typically recommend is for your hurricane deductibles, about 2%. That's like a good sweet spot. If you have a new construction home, we have a specific carrier that is probably the most competitive in the state of Florida for new construction, and we can get as low as a 1% hurricane deductible and $500 all of the peril deductible, and it doesn't make a significant difference on the premium. So again, the most that I would go on all of the perils is about $5,000. I wouldn't go above that. And if you have a mortgage, you won't be able to go above 5% hurricane deductible. And then, of course, shopping your policy. We recommend every 2 to 3 years, shop your insurance policy. Give me or your agent a call, and allow us to do a reshop. All right, because the market is changing weekly, daily, weekly, monthly now. And so, allow us to do the legwork for you, and because ultimately we want to make sure that you have the most competitive policy. And 6, maintaining a claims-free record. Like I mentioned earlier, now again, if you have an act of God, there's nothing you can do about that. But preventing any liability claims, water claims, having a claims-free record is it does look very positive to the insurance companies when you're shopping, and results in lower premiums as well. Any questions on this slide?
I have a question. Well, maybe a comment that I would like to share with everybody. So I know when we were talking before, I don't know if you were going to share this already, the difference between like 2-story and 1-story houses when it came to like the block versus wood frame and the saving on insurance that way.
Yeah. So there are two different ways that insurance companies they'll look at your house. So if most 1-story homes that are built right now are what they call masonry, right? They're built from cinder blocks. Masonry homes are generally going to be the strongest, right? Because there's generally no wood or what they call frame. So you do get a discount for having a masonry home. Now, when it comes to 2-story buildings, generally the way it works is the first level of the home is masonry, and the second level is built with frame or wood. And the way the insurance companies they look at it, if more than 30% of the home is frame is framed, they will consider that frame. They'll in the insurance policy they will consider that as complete frame construction, and so you won't get as big of a discount as you would with masonry. But generally, the way most 2-story homes are built right now is first level is masonry, second level is frame, and so what you'll see on your declaration page, it shouldn't show masonry, it should show frame, and generally frame homes, or even if it's a 1-story home that's, let's just say it was built all frame, you're not going to you're going to get less of a discount because if you think about it, if a windstorm, big hurricane, comes, that frame house is not going to be as strong as a masonry. Great question.
Thanks for sharing that.
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks. I have a question about home security, installing the system. So some of the new homes come with the panel and give you some protection where, I guess, with the lock and things like that. Does it matter if you install your own system like inside as well, like cameras indoors, cameras outside, or should you always go through the company, like a security company to do that?
Great question. So there's nothing wrong with, it's great, it's definitely great to install the cameras inside or outside. The insurance companies, they want to see that it's centrally monitored, right? So if you're away at the house, away from the house and somebody breaks in, the alarm goes off and the police are automatically called to come out to the house. That is where they give you the discounts. They don't necessarily, they won't give you a discount just for having cameras by itself. But if it's centrally monitored, that's where you'll get the discount.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome. Great question. Any other questions?
You have to spend money to save it, I guess. Huh?
Yeah,
They always get you.
yeah, you do.
So does it count if you have like a gated community or does that give you a discount, and
It
does it
does.
have to have a maybe a manned gate, or does it just do you still get the same discount if it's just a regular gate?
That is great. That's a great question. Yes, you do get a discount. So if it's a man gate with only one one entrance and one exit, yes, you do get a discount for that. If it has unmanned gate, it's a smaller discount. The biggest discount you get is with the man gate. But if you have, passcode key, gate that has just a regular passcode, you do get a smaller discount for that. But yeah, you do get a discount for being in a gated community. That's great.
Yay, just trying to, share all the things, make sure everybody knows how you can save money on your home. This is extra convenience for you. So when you're out shopping, these are things you want to look at when you're making a final decision, because homeowners insurance is important.
Absolutely. All right. And last but not least, oops. So the Florida homeowners insurance market, right? A lot has, I'm sure you all probably heard, rates have skyrocketed here over the last few years. Hurricanes, they have contributed to it some. The biggest issue that has contributed to probably the worst the worst homeowners insurance market that we've ever seen is roof-related fraud and litigation. And so what's been running rampant here over the last probably 10 years is you would have these overzealous roofers and contractors that were going out, scouring neighborhoods, trying to find houses with older roofs. And I've heard stories. I mean, these roofers, they were very aggressive. I had one client said that she had came home one day and there was a roofer on top of her roof inspecting her, looking at the roof, and climbed down. And mind you, she never, this is somebody that just came to her house and just got on the roof. Not approved. But what these roofers are doing, what they were doing is they were going out, scouring these neighborhoods, trying to find older roofs. They would knock on the homeowner's door and say, hey, we can get you a brand new roof for free through your insurance company. All you have to do is sign this form. It's called an assignment of benefits form. So once that homeowner would sign this assignment of benefits form, the roofer then will go and file a claim with the insurance company. And with that by signing that form, that relinquishes the rights to that claim from you as the homeowner to the roofer. And so what the roofer would do, he would go file the insurance claim with the insurance company. The insurance company would send out an adjuster. And the adjuster would say, hey, we don't believe it needs a full roof replacement, or they'll deny the claim. Well, then that roofer will then file a lawsuit against the insurance company. Or once that roofer files that lawsuit, the insurance company has really one or two options. Either they settle the lawsuit or they go to litigation. But what was happening is, let's just say that roof replacement may have cost you, let's just say that roofer may have billed you for $15,000 to replace the roof. Well, he'll replace that roof, send you that bill for 15, but he's going to send the bill to the insurance company for $30,000, $40,000. And what he was doing is pocketing the difference. And so that had been running rampant over years, over these past few years. And, I think it was since 2020, there have been about 12 homeowners insurance companies that have basically ran out of money because of this, or either ran out of money or decided to leave the state. And so, the roofing contract will file that lawsuit. That insurance company, again, has one or two options. They settle and pay for significantly more than the roof actually costs, or they can go to trial, go to litigation. Well, if they go to trial and go to litigation, it is not in the benefit it's not in benefit to the insurance company, because there was a Florida statute called one-way attorney fees. And what these one-way attorney's fees meant is, if they go to litigation, the insurance company, regardless if the insurance company wins or if they lose that case, the insurance company is responsible for paying the legal fees for that homeowner, regardless if the insurance company wins or not. But those legal fees, typically that roofer would have an attorney or attorneys in their back pocket, and what they would do is they would inflate the prices, their hourly rate, because they know that the insurance company would have no choice to pay it. And so this has been running rampant over really the past 10 years. And so you factor that on top of the hurricanes, on top of water claims. The insurance company really didn't either have a choice. Either they increase the prices of their, the insurance companies that are still remaining, either they increase their prices to offset their loss ratios, or they go out of business, or they decide to leave Florida. And so that's what we've been dealing with. And so the end of 2022, the governor held a special session to address the crisis that we were in. And what they did is, one, they got rid of the assignment of benefits. So they abolished assignment of benefits. They also abolished one-way attorney's fees. And when I tell you, here today, this has had a major impact on the market. The insurance companies, I'm on calls weekly. The insurance companies, they are not seeing the significant losses, the big underwriting losses like they have been in previous years. And what I've been hearing, certain companies now here in Florida may not be taking rate this year. They may either not take a rate, and there are a few companies that are may even file for a rate decrease. So this legislation has significantly impacted the homeowners insurance market here in Florida. my opinion, we're still probably about 1 to 2 years away from it really stabilizing. But we as the agents, I can see firsthand that the market is getting better. So I can give you some confidence there. God forbid, hoping that we don't have a major hurricane season this year in Florida. I mean, as you all may have seen, there have been they're calling for this hurricane season to probably be one of the worst, or I would say most active hurricane seasons because of La Nina. And so just because they're forecasting a lot of hurricanes doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hit Florida, but Florida, we do not need any major hurricanes this year, that's for sure. If we do have a major hurricane that hits Florida, it will prolong. We do believe it will prolong the market stabilizing. But yeah, I mean, we're not anticipating any other carriers to leave the market or go insolvent at this point in time. Because when I opened up my agency, it was like every other month, a carrier was either, said, hey, we're pulling out of Florida or we're going into receivership. And that just wasn't a very fun time for homeowners. So yeah, the market is getting better. So there is confidence there. Rates should start to stabilize here in the next few years. So that is promising. Yeah, so what questions, and we're right here right at 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock, but what questions do y'all have for me?
That's really, really valuable information. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, it feels good to know that we might be getting some relief, definitely when it comes to homeowners insurance. I did have one last question.
Sure.
As far as like if you own pets, is that considered personal liability coverage? Like if they bite someone or something like that?
Yes, it is. So if you have a pit bull, or an aggressive breed dog, some insurance carriers may not accept you. Or if you do have an aggressive breed dog, what they will do, they may accept you, but they will not provide any liability coverage in the event your dog bites somebody. So that's just something, definitely something to keep in mind. But that's a great question.
So should you list a pet or not? Like they're not going to, like if you have an aggressive breed, should you even mention it at all or just not bring it up?
The insurance answer is going to be yes, you should, right? Because what may happen is, if you don't list it, most insurance companies, after you process the policy, they will go out and do an inspection, their own inspection, not at the cost of the homeowner. And so if that inspector sees a pit bull or an aggressive breed dog, they're going to report that back to the insurance carrier. And then that insurance carrier will likely send you a cancellation notice. So it's best that you be forthcoming, because what that does for me, if you have a pit bull or whatever, I can at least go and do the legwork for you, shopping for a carrier that will allow that aggressive breed dog, but they just won't provide any liability coverage in the event your dog bites somebody.
Wow. So I have I want to piggyback on that. So what if you have it's a pit bull or aggressive dog, but they're an emotional support animal? Do you know anything about that? Because those can go anywhere.
Yeah, that's a tough one, but I would still think that they would still consider they consider just they go by the breed in itself. But that is a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that. But my initial thoughts, even though it's considered an emotional support dog, they're still looking at the breed in itself.
Okay.
But that's a fantastic question. Nobody's ever asked me
that. Thanks.
Any other questions? All right. Well, again, Royce, I thank you all for joining the call today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you all got some value out of the information that I shared. Here's my contact information. If you want to take that down, if you have any questions as you all go through the home buying process, and you just have general questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can call me. I'm always available. Email me, whichever you prefer. I want to be your partner in this home buying process for you. And then even after the home buying process, with all of your insurance needs, just want you to know that, we are here. Again, we're here based in Tampa, but we insure all over Florida. We cover all of Florida. And so, Royce, thank you again for having me. And yeah, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, I want to say thank you, Ronnie. This is very, very insightful. A lot of good information. I hope you all were taking notes. As he mentioned, his contact information is on the screen, but I am going to send out an email with his information. So if you have any further questions, of course, feel free to reach out to him. He can also run quotes for you. I don't know if you guys noticed, but on the bottom, he listed all of the items that they insure. So home, motorcycles, auto. He also does business insurance. So if you have a business, he does business insurance. But Ronnie is part of our Clear-to-Close Homeownership Academy. And so we will be launching that this fall. And so if any of you are interested in joining that program, look out for the updates on that. As far as the upcoming, our next class will be on title services 101. That's next Thursday at 12 p.m. So that invite will be going out shortly. So feel free to join. We will definitely be seeing Ronnie again. And I again appreciate you for this great presentation. I found a lot of information to be very informative, and I'm glad we are partners in this whole real estate industry. So look forward to working with you further. And no more questions, just want to check in. No more questions. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. So with that said, I won't hold you guys. I know, a lot of you are on your lunch break and have to get back to work. So I will let you go. This was recorded. So as part of that email, I will be sending out the replay. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, Ronnie.
You're
You
welcome.
guys have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.